Well, hello guys. Welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler, and I have a review for you today. A review of the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 Button Lock, or also known as the PM2 Ultra, customized by Blades We Love. All right, guys. So, jumping right into this. I'm going to not try to rip through this, but this is basically another PM2 with a button lock addition. So I'm not going to go through a bunch of stuff. We've all seen a million PM2 reviews. Even my PM2 review from like 6 months ago was probably shit, but I'm not going to just try to fix it with this, okay? I'm going to show you guys this guy. This is a PM2 button lock or a PM2 Ultra from Blades We Love. Go look them up. They're taking pre-orders for these now. This particular model was $250. This is micarta. You have some titanium hardware, a titanium lanyard tube. You have a titanium button lock, and then a titanium pocket clip. Pocket clip and flipper tabs always jack me up. You have recessed liners, typical of your PM2. You do have a spacer here. I believe that's steel. That's magnetic. And recessed liners here with a little bit of milling on the liner, so it does alleviate a little bit of the pressure. This is originally a compression lock. This is originally a compression lock left-handed version. So if I were to demonstrate, this is what a right-hand PM2 looks like. The compression lock, you're going to pinch it with your thumb on the outside. This one, you would have to pinch it with your thumb on the inside, or if you're lefty, like a normal left-handed person. The reason I bring that up is because I need to demonstrate something. The action, first and foremost, the action on this is great. You can button flick it open, you can reverse flick it, you can thumb flip it, and you can do the good old Spidey drop, which I just failed at under the camera so bad. But typical PM2, the ergonomics are great. You have plenty of room with probably too big of a handle. We all know that about the PM2. This is a regular PM2 blade, S30V. Nothing special about the blade. So if you're alloy or blade steel, depending on your terminology, snob, this is going to frustrate you. And now what's going to frustrate you even more is that this is what frustrated me. You might say, Tyler, why do you have two PM2s? What's the purpose? Well, my dumbass was going to change out this M390 blade for this blade and make my PM2 a PM2 Ultra Mega final version, a final evolution, right? And then I was going to try to customize this stuff later. Well, you can't. Why? Because this is a left-handed blade. Now, you might be saying, well, what's that have to do with it? Until you start thinking about it. And some of you are like, I already know. Well, I'm going to tell the ones that don't, so you don't fall into the same trap that I did, and thinking I was just going to put another detent hole in there with a precision milled machine. That's all I thought I had to do, right? Wrong. You can't do anything. The way that this tang is ground, it's ground so that this locking mechanism with the compression lock slides from right to left, meaning the angle is going to be like this, right? A little bit until it locks in. Now, the way this PM2 is ground, the compression lock goes from left to right. So when you go to lock up, when you go to open up, it slides from left to right, meaning the angle is going to be like this on your blade. You cannot just put a detent hole in this. The blade tang is ground at an angle, so you cannot do anything with it. That brings me to my frustration point of I can't do anything with this knife. We like to customize our stuff. I mean, especially those of us that have hinders, that have that stuff. We're used to changing out the scales. We're used to doing this. We're used to doing that. There's not much you can do to this. You can put a lanyard post in there. You can do some different hardware. That's it. I mean, maybe you might be able to get a backspacer in there. I'm not sure I haven't taken this apart. And because I did sell this, if you guys remember my previous video, which one do I keep? You guys know it already. I chose to keep the M390 version. I want to be able to customize my knife. That's the only downside of this. There's nothing bad. I love this guy. And I'm telling you guys what, would I choose this over the smock? All day, every day. It doesn't have as many opening methods, but the ergonomics are way better, and it's a PM2. I mean, the PM2 is just a die-hard, badass, always, forever, evergreen knife. And so it's a fantastic version. If the button lock is your thing over customizing, this is your knife. This guy is freaking awesome. Let's get you guys some specs. We'll get into some size comparisons, and then I'll give you my likes, my dislikes, the typical shebang. All right, so this thing's coming in at a whopping 3.54 ounces. To put that into perspective versus your M390 version, which is coming in at a 3.83. So this is actually lighter, and I'd be willing to bet you it's due to all the titanium hardware that's in it. Is the milling the same too? Yeah, the milling is the same on the inside. There's not much milling, but it's the same. All right, so your overall length of this guy is coming in at a whopping about 8¼ inches. I mean, it's a pretty long knife, and you got a mostly handle length. I forgot to do the blade length. Mostly handle length, so 8¼ inches, but you're only getting a 3.5-inch blade length with a 3-inch cutting edge due to this large half choil right here. So it's what's the term? She's all legs. This chick is all legs. All right, this is where the PM2 shines and why people love it. So the blade stock's coming in at 140 thousandths, but the behind the edge of this guy is coming in at 20 thousandths. So you're getting a really like thicker stock for the blade, but you're getting a pretty narrow, really slicey knife that has a really good point for puncturing. So the overall thickness of the scales, coming in at a whopping 0.43 inches, or 450 thousandths, and the overall height should be at 1.6 if I'm not a liar. Yep, the overall height's coming in right at a 1.6 at its highest point. As I mentioned, the PM2's highest point is actually a 1.66. This knife is slightly less tall than the PM2. All right, let's get you guys some size comparisons. So here is your feldspar, your mini feldspar and your regular size feldspar. Obviously, this PM2 Ultra is longer than both of these. Next on the list, we have your Ret Model 1, which is just about the same length as your PM2. I mean, these are both fairly long knives. And then your Ret Model 2, which is coming in at much shorter. Sorry for the bouncing in the background. My nephew and my son are outside playing basketball and stuff, and I would rather have them do that than, interrupt. So we're going to deal with it. All right, here is your Civivi Elementum, and you guys are going to get tired of this. Your thumb flipping fixed blade Elementum. The fixed blade Elementum is still slightly shorter than your PM2, but not by much. You guys are going to get so tired. I can thumb flip the Elementum that's fixed blade. This is stupid. All right, so here is your Spyderco Sage 5 for a size reference. And let me see if I got another Spyderco laying around here. I don't really have too many Spydercos laying around. I do. Hold on. I'll give you another size reference. And here is your Spyderco Watu. I forgot I had this. Excuse me. I forgot I had this knife. So the Watu and the Sage 5, I'm actually, now that I'm looking at these, I'm going to compare these two. But here's the Watu and the Sage 5. Typically the same length, a little bit different blade shape, much shorter than your PM2. All right, so what are my likes? So, the compression lock is awesome. I mean, this is really cool. I really like the ergonomics. It's a very pocket-friendly knife despite being just tall. I mean, this isn't a pocket hog in my opinion. It's by no means like a knife that's going to be in your pocket and you don't feel it. I mean, you feel it in your pocket, but that's why people go to the Para 3. But it's not too bad of a pocket hog like people make it out to be. The fidget factor on this is through the roof, especially with this button lock. But honestly, the compression lock fits the bill for me too. I mean, I really do enjoy the button or the compression lock, and so I mean, I'm not missing too much with the button lock. I honestly like everything about the PM2. Like I said, it's evergreen. What do I dislike? Obviously, the blade to handle ratio kind of sucks. And I dislike the fact that I can't mod this, which really turns it less of a dislike, more of a want. I would much rather be able to mod my knife, but they can't do a right-handed model because the button would be on this side and it would get weird for right-handed people. That's just the facts. Now, the other difference is, by the way, they covered up the scales here, so you don't have anywhere where you're going to have an issue with the scales. Whereas on this one, they have an opening for the compression lock, which I'm going to do a video on these two a little bit later. But it kind of really doesn't answer the question for you. But here's the I keep saying but. The problem with this is this is coming in at $250. Now, I get it. Left-handed PM2s are, they make a special order. They probably get a decent price, but they're coming in at what, 140, 150 bucks for your cheapest models, right? For the S30V. Then they take it and they do all this titanium hardware. They do a titanium button lock on it. And I think this button lock is probably epoxied to the compression lock, similar to a compression made easy by We Love Them Knives, or I'm sorry, OCD for EDC. But you know, you're basically paying $100 more for a button and some titanium hardware. If that to you, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's overpriced, because the work that goes into this and getting these scales and everything, by no means overpriced. I think it's fantastic. But you're really just getting a PM2 that's fidgety. So if that suits you, if you're a smock lover, but you wish, this is your knife. And that's kind of why I decided to keep my M390, because I would rather customize it. But if you're perfectly cool with this, that $250 is not a bad price. I mean, S30V for $250, you're kind of like blah, but it's really not that bad. S30V for $250, I mean, S30V used to be a premium blade steel. I mean, it still is. It's still really good. So I tried to rush through this because I don't want to make this just your typical PM2 review like we always have seen. We've seen a million of them and we don't need to see anymore. Well, this is kind of where this leads. That's all I got for you guys. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe, and have a great freaking day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my Patreon. This is my Instagram, everydayedc_77. We'll do a special shout out to all the Patreons: John K, Sammy, Eggs and Ham, Jason M, Dogtooth, Kaiba, Mickey, Wolf, and Captain Steve. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great freaking day.